Why did La Duchess de Osuna, as a woman of the Enlightenment, far better read than nearly all the men she met, want to decorate her home with images of superstitions which she must have considered, at best, ridiculous? The cultivated Spanish of her day took an aesthetic interest in native Spanish folklore, dress, and customs, in part to counterbalance their passionate Francophilia. Witches, like bandits, were a colorful part of the Spanish cultural landscape. Also, spooky was the latest style in entertainment. The dawn of the 19th century saw the first wave of great horror fiction, including Matthew Gregory Lewis' 1796 The Monk, and E.T.A. Hoffman's 1815 The Devil's Elixir. And there is a coded Enlightenment subtext in Goya's 6 magical paintings, just as there was in Mozart's 1791 Magic Flute, where deist Rosicrucian heroes defeat the Catholic Church, represented by the witch-like Queen of Night. All of these factors, national color, the enjoyment of a shudder, veiled anti-clericalism, helped inspire the capriccios, which acquired their inspiration, as they did their name, in the Duchessa de Osuna's country house, El Capriccio, for which Goya's 6 occult paintings were designed. Don Juan y el Comendador, which we see in a black and white photograph since the painting's present whereabouts are unknown, is based on the legend of Don Juan, well known to Goya's contemporaries in Antonio de Zamora's stage version, which was so successful in Madrid that it was performed annually from 1784 to 1804. In the story, Don Juan, having killed the commander, mocks his statue by inviting it to dinner. The statue responds with a counter-invitation. Don Juan will join him in the grave. Here we see El Comendador appearing in flames to hail Don Juan to hell. The hero doesn't even rise to greet his spectral guest, but sits defiantly unconcerned, his hands in his pockets. Another scene taken from the stage is El Hechizado, the Bewitched Man, based on another popular play, also by Zamora. In it, a credulous cleric is persuaded that he will die as soon as the oil in a lamp runs out. We are shown the terrorized man topping off the lamp's oil reserve. The book in the lower right gives in partial view a phrase from the play. Lámpara descomunal. Oh, extraordinary lamp. The painting works on several levels. The text in the corner announces that this is an illustration. The demon and the donkeys are actually props which other characters have placed in the room to frighten the priest. Like him, we see them as real, even as we enjoy the cartoon terror of his features. These 2 theater scenes excused the following images of genuine witchcraft, making it possible to laugh them off as spooky literary entertainment. But Goya and his co-conspirator, La Duchessa, would have seen the second image as the church adding fuel to keep superstition alive. The bamboozled cleric is an emblem of his entire naive class, while the donkeys, who stand and walk like men, are the stupidly devout. The Witch's Kitchen, La Cocina de las Brujas, another lost painting, may well be inspired by a Cervantes short story, The Dog's Conversation, El Coloquio de los Perros, in which a talking dog narrates his term of service as a witch's pet. The literary connection, though plausible enough, and useful as a cover story lest the Inquisition disapprove of the paintings, doesn't add anything to our understanding of the image, which engages witchcraft on the archetypal level. Goya shows us a number of shamanic motifs, which first entered witch depiction in Roman times, and which have been intrinsic to it ever since. Indistinct accounts of shamanism, which the Romans encountered as they conquered barbarian Europe, enriched their tradition of supernatural literature. The shaman in a traditional society directs the spiritual life of his fellows through ecstatic performances in which he becomes various god and animal spirits, That is, he impersonates them vocally and in mime as he ritually acts out his supernatural journeys between the realms of gods, men, and the dead. Animal transformation and spiritual travel are visibly in play here as the witches' shape-shifting and their ability to fly. The skulls and bones which give the kitchen its Halloween look are likewise a shamanic motif, for the shaman is dead. That is, he has passed beyond the limits of the mortal condition, including material limitations on form and movement. Setting the scene in a kitchen, with a smoking basin and pitcher of flying ointment at center, and skeletal remains hung like herbs from the ceiling, taken together, imply the witch's cauldron, a tool of transformation which makes its first literary appearance in Ovid's account of Medea. In its original archaic context, the cauldron represents the symbolic dismemberment and reassembly of one's body, which is a universal feature of shamanic initiation. The hearth itself, a homely equivalent of the altar for incense and sacrifice in a temple, is, like its formal religious equivalent, an axial point where communication and movement between the planes of existence is possible, as is evident from the flight of the fully transformed witch up the flue. Goya, with the true poet's instinct for the archetype, has given the most profound and ancient content of witchcraft compelling visual form. The naturalistic and partial metamorphoses, beginning at the heads and feet of the figures, make an unsettling contrast with the airborne quadruped mounted on a broomstick, which is as clear in its symbolism as it is physically implausible. The seamless transitions from realism to stark symbolism make it clear this scene unfolds on more than just the material plane. This is a witch painting by an initiate, for a great artist intuitively understands the sorcerer's arts.